Welcome to the She Speaks to Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. She Speaks to Inspire is an empowering public speaking podcast for women with public speaking fear. Unlike other podcasts on public speaking, She Speaks to Inspire not only gives you tips to be a confident communicator under pressure, but also helps you regulate your nervous system for less anxiety, learn lifestyle practices to reduce burnout and overwhelm, and reconnect with your feminine leadership presence for more authenticity and comfort in your skin. I believe it's the quiet ones, especially the quiet women, who have the most important ideas. I believe the world really does need your voice. So let's dive in. When you speak, do you find yourself critiquing yourself on the inside almost constantly? And then probably you're critiquing yourself afterwards as well as you reflect on the speaking that you had just done. This second guessing yourself creates a relationship with your speaking where you're never certain. You're never 100% confident in what you have to say. There's always one foot in and one foot out. Wouldn't it be great if you could 100% trust yourself and know that the right words have come to you in the right moment? Wouldn't it be great if whenever you were put on the spot, you knew that you'd be able to come up with the right words? It sounds so much more relaxing, doesn't it? Today we're going to talk about how to stop second guessing yourself and how to start trusting yourself to be able to speak on the fly, off the cuff. The first important thing to understand is that self-consciousness and second guessing yourself, there's a big cost to it. Maybe you think, well, it's good for me to be aware of what I could do better. Sure, I want you to be always improving, but I'm talking about self-criticism. Self-criticism has no positive or productive purpose. It cuts us down. There's a difference between thinking through what you want to say and self-censorship. One of the biggest costs of second-guessing yourself is the energy loss, the vitality, the passion that's probably lost in the process of second-guessing. It's my belief that your first impulse is generally the right impulse. That's probably the opposite of what you've heard before. Right? To make sure to think before you speak. There are many situations where that is true, especially in interpersonal relationships, right? And I'm not encouraging you to vomit your feelings and thoughts out on whoever is around you. I just mean there's an impulse to communicate that we all have before we make sound, before we speak. This impulse arises from deep down in your guts, from in the depths of your belly. It comes with a desire. We wouldn't make sound. We wouldn't have created language if we didn't have a desire to share ourselves. So there's this impulse, this desire that is awoken in you. It's my belief that that impulse is pure. Now, how you form that impulse into communication and expression is the art. But I want you to be true to that impulse. So the cost of second guessing yourself is that a lot of times you're not true to yourself. Instead, our monkey mind jumps in and talks us out of being true to our initial impulse. Then our speaking becomes intellectual, information-oriented, flat, and you'll become stuck with your speaking because you feel like you can never get it right. It doesn't feel right to you. It's probably not having the impact that you ultimately want it to have, and you're just stuck. So the reason you struggle to find the right words isn't because you don't have them. It isn't because you haven't prepared enough. It isn't because you're introverted or don't have the experience or haven't done the research. No. None of these reasons. You struggle to find the right words in the right moment because you're afraid to do something wrong, because you're afraid of being judged. Then the question is, well, how do we get into that flow state? How do we connect with this core of our impulses? How do we let it flow? In my experience of my own speaking, it feels like words come out of my mouth before my mind can comment on them. That's a flow state. Now, of course, my mind does comment on what I say. I'm not immune to that. My mind does comment on what I say, and it can be judgmental and critical. But like I said, though, words have come out generally before my mind comments on them. I get into that flow state. So it's as if my mind commenting is this backseat driver that I'm ignoring. How do you get into that state? First of all, to get you used to what it might feel like, it does feel like jumping off a cliff a little bit. That sense of taking a leap of faith. I've found that the more I take that leap of faith, easier it gets. The more I have the expectation that everything's going to be fine, the more I trust myself. Now, at the beginning, it's really scary. This is the art of trying something new, right? When we learn something new, any new skill, there's an initial phase where we know that we're not good at this skill, but we don't know what to do to get better. That's the stage of conscious incompetence. And then as you learn some skills like we're working on now, then you get into a phase of conscious competence. In order to get into a flow state, I have to put a lot of focus on getting there. And this is when you learn a speaker's warm-up routine and you're implementing it and you know how to get into the state, but it takes a good bit of willpower and effort and focus. Eventually, over time, you can get to that unconscious competence place where you don't have to think about it, right? And it just happens. You know how to click into that flow state. It's almost like flipping a switch. Like I said, your speaker's warm-up routine is one of the best ways to get yourself into that state of being. I've talked about it other places, but a speaker's warm-up routine always has 5 elements. It's going to have an element of waking up your body, warming up your physical body, because your body is the instrument of your speaking, whether it's virtual or in person or recorded or video on or over the phone or anything. Your body is the instrument of your speaking. So we need to get your body awake and expressive. We need to warm up your physical voice because, of course, that is the instrument of your speaking. We need to warm up your mindset, get your mind positive, clear, present. We need to warm up your emotional state, clear out any anxious, stagnant emotions, and bring you to an emotional state of passion and energy. And then lastly, we need to warm up your energetic presence, which what I mean by that is raise your energy level. The way we speak to our husband over breakfast or, as you're just walking around the house or as you're doing emails, that energy level is not going to work for important speaking moments. Your energy needs to be higher. So you need to make a shift with your energy. If you warm up these 5 things regularly, you'll train yourself how to get into a flow state and what it feels like to be in a flow state so you can get there faster and easier. This is what the great speakers know about impromptu speaking. They know that they need to be in a flow state. They know how to get there, what works for them to get there. They know the conditions they need in order to get there. And they know some of the speaker skills that can keep them there. For example, using structure as you improvise. You're speaking on the fly, off the cuff. You know some structure, some basic foundational structures of how to organize your thoughts that can help you to come up with something in the moment. You know how to pause, give yourself time to gather your thoughts. And you come to any communication moment, if you're a great speaker, you come with the attitude of trusting yourself and letting the words come to you instead of freaking out that they're not there. That simple mindset of expectation that the words are coming slips you right into the flow state. I hope this was helpful to reflect on why you might be second guessing yourself and how to start shifting that pattern. And then how to learn how to trust yourself. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of building muscle memory, building a new positive history of yourself, and approaching impromptu speaking in a way that both empowers you and also creates competence in you to use the skills of public speaking in a way that doesn't require preparation. Thanks for listening. This has been She Speaks to Inspire with Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaker.